Okay, so we all love seeing the happy endings of animal rescue, right? The cute photos, the wagging tails, but have you ever wondered what it really takes to get there? Well, today we've got something special, a rare, unfiltered peek inside the brain of an animal shelter, and we're going to do it by looking at a bunch of personal to-do lists.
So, this was a real task on a shelter manager's list from August. Research shade sales. It seems so random, doesn't it? But stick with me, because it's actually the first piece of a much bigger puzzle. It's a clue that starts to reveal just how complex saving an animal's life really is.
The answer, as you're about to see, isn't just about those big adoption events you see online. These lists show us that saving an animal is all about juggling 100 tiny, relentless, and honestly often invisible details every single day.
All right, let's start with the things that pretty much never leave the list. This is the engine of the shelter, the constant cyclical work that just has to get done to keep things running.
This task right here, processing in-kind donations, it's on almost every single list we looked at. Now, on one hand, that's awesome. It's a great reminder of how generous the community is. But on the other hand, it's a constant administrative job. Every single bag of food, every donated blanket, it all has to be logged and sorted.
And it's not just physical stuff. I mean, look at this. The lists show a crazy amount of data being tracked every week. We're talking volunteer hours, adoption numbers, foster stats, even payroll. This isn't just a passion project. It's a full-blown, complex operation that runs on data.
This one might seem small, but this task is an absolute lifeline. Every week, new names just pop up. Waffle, Tia, Baby Boy, Juno, Ruth. Every single name represents a life that needs its story told so it can find a home. It's not some generic task. It's a weekly act of hope for these specific animals.
And this checklist? Wow. It just perfectly shows the sheer variety of skills you need. One minute, you're a digital marketer, updating photos on a website. The next, you're literally driving around town to check on physical coin donation jars. It's this constant, varied administrative grind that holds the whole mission together.
So okay, moving beyond that daily grind, the lists are also jam-packed with big picture projects. Fundraisers, new programs, community events. And this is where we really start to see the constant tug-of-war between ambition and cold, hard reality.
This one tells such a powerful story. Check it out. In early August, there's a solid plan for a volunteer appreciation event. Date reserved, meeting with a chef, everything's moving. Then just 2 weeks later, it completely falls apart. Everything about this is up in the air, and it stays that way for 3 straight months. That's what it's like trying to plan for the future when you're constantly putting out fires.
And this just shows you the 2 different paths these projects can take. Over on the left, you see some nice, steady progress. The adoption follow-up program just inches forward, step by step. But on the right, oh boy, the toy drive gets tangled up in the most bizarre complications. Like, you're chasing a sponsor for a logo who then suddenly also needs to surrender his own dog. It's just, you can't make this stuff up. It's completely unpredictable.
These lists aren't just about tasks. They're basically emotional documents. If you really look closely, you can see the frustrating dead ends and the small, crucial victories that keep a person going.
Hey, remember the shade sales from the beginning? Well, after weeks of research, the whole project just hits a brick wall. This note says they aren't in the service area. All that effort, gone. You can almost feel the sigh in those last few words. On to the next option.
But then, you see entries like this, and there are hundreds of them. A simple task, send confirmation texts, crossed right off. The small, satisfying victory of a task being done, a real, concrete step forward. This rhythm, this back and forth of setback and progress, that's the real emotional core of this work.
And when you zoom out from these individual tasks, the scale of it all is just staggering. At any given moment, we counted over 10 major projects being juggled at the same time. Adoption Autumn, a toy drive, memorial bricks, researching new training programs, emergency preparedness drills, and so much more. It's an absolute masterclass in multitasking.
So why should we care about some stranger's to-do list? Well, because when you read between the lines, you realize it's way more than a list. It's a testament to doing work that has a real purpose. It's a blueprint of a mission.
This single line, just tucked away in a list from September, it says so much. It's not just about managing resources or trying to get more help. It's about building a community. It's about taking a moment to recognize the people who show up
day in and day out. It's about the heart behind all the logistics.
And then, right in the middle of all the strategy and the reporting and the paperwork, you find these beautiful, tangible reminders of the whole point. Making special treats, taking photos of specific dogs, even applying for used tennis balls. These silly, specific, compassionate little acts of care, they're the entire reason the list exists in the first place.
So really, when you get right down to it, what this list truly shows is resilience. It's the story of showing up every single day, crossing one thing off your list, adding 3 more, and just never ever losing sight of the goal.
And that's really what it leaves you with, isn't it? This incredible, unseen effort. It's happening right now in shelters and nonprofits all over the world. And it's all powered by people in their tireless, relentless, and, when you think about it, ultimately hopeful to-do lists.